In election season, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, the leader of the opposition, finds himself drawn into a fierce political storm after a speech he made at the opening of the new Congress headquarters. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. Rahul Gandhi, while speaking at the new Congress headquarters, has spoken about how the battle that the Congress is fighting is not just with the BJP and the RSS, but quote unquote, the Indian state. He argued that every institution of India has now fallen prey to the capture of the BJP and the RSS. For those words, the BJP has attacked him fiercely, saying he has displayed an ugly and rotten face to politics by positioning himself outside the structure of the Indian state. They have asked how an Indian can go up against the Indian state. Rahul Gandhi's speech did not just stop there. He also targeted RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat, accusing him of making statements that he said were treacherous. He said in any other country, Mohan Bhagwat would have been arrested and tried for treason. This after Mr. Bhagwat, in a recent speech earlier this week, spoke about true independence coinciding with the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha. Mr. Bhagwat spoke about political independence and the constitution coming to India after, of course, 15th August 1947, but also spoke about a kind of cultural independence that came, he said, with the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha. Rahul Gandhi aimed or took straight aim at RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat for those comments, saying Mohan Bhagwat would have or should have been arrested in another country. These twin remarks of Rahul Gandhi, one where he talks of the Congress fighting the Indian state, the other way he says the RSS chief would have been arrested in any other country, pull the Congress party yet again into a direct ideological confrontation with the BJP. It's a kind of ideological battle that the Aam Aadmi Party has very tactically avoided. Remember, Delhi is up for election in just a few weeks from now. How do we read these two comments by Rahul Gandhi? How do we read Mohan Bhagwat's original speech, and what might be the political fallout of these comments? Let me introduce our panel on the program today. Neerja Chaudhary, veteran journalist and author, is with us. Welcome, Neerja. Also joining us is Tehseen Poonawala, a diehard supporter of the Gandhi family. Will he defend what Rahul Gandhi has said today? Rajat Sethi, political analyst, former advisor to the Chief Minister of Manipur, among many other roles that he has taken on in his political journey, is also with us. Welcome, everybody, to the program. Let me start by playing out for you the bit where Rahul Gandhi says the Congress is now fighting, quote unquote, the Indian state. Take a look.
I'd like to say one last thing, that do not think that we are fighting a fair fight. There is no fairness in this. If you believe that we are fighting a political organization called the BJP, that we are fighting a political organization called the RSS, you have not understood what is going on. The BJP and the RSS have captured every single institution of our country. We are now fighting the BJP, the RSS, and the Indian state itself.
I'll play out in a moment from now what he also said about Mohan Bhagwat and how he would have been arrested in any other country. But let's begin with reactions. Rajat Sethi, the formulation that the opposition party of India, the leader of the opposition, is saying he's not just up against the BJP and the Sangh Parivar. He is up against the Indian state. His argument is, of course, that he alleges that every institution of governance has been captured. But of course, the word he chose, if he had said, I'm up against the entire Indian government or Modi government, the reaction may have been different. The fact that he used the phrase Indian state, what does that make you think?
Honestly, Barkha, I was appalled at the loose usage of Indian state that he did. If I were to give him benefit of doubt, it was a slip of tongue. But contrary to that, if he's like passionately believes in what he said and he doesn't issue an apology, it clearly means that he is going against the manifested form of our constitution. Executive and Indian state is how the constitution lives and breathes on a day-to-day basis. So if you're going and attacking the Indian state, that is the real treason. What the word treason that he used, if there is treachery or treason of any level, this is what it is. You go and say that I'm against US state. that is treason. You go and say that against any other nation, that is treason. That's an act of treason. Not somebody who starts thinking, for that matter of fact, that today is India's independence. For that matter, I can think that today I'm feeling free, and freedom at an unprecedented level, and maybe India is free today. Who stops me from believing when is India's freedom? You might think that India, from a Macaulay school of thought, that India as a being came around on the 15th of August 1947. Some might not believe in that thesis at all. Some might even go to the extent of saying that 2014 was freedom, the day of freedom for the country. And somebody might even go out and proclaim that India is still not free. We are still colonized from our mindset. We still need to decolonize ourselves. I mean, that's a statement that anybody can make. Where is treason in that? What prompted him to go to such an extent to make this kind of an assertion, which is the definition of what treason is?
You believe that if he fumbled on his choice of words, he should simply issue a clarification or an apology.
Yeah, going
But
against
otherwise,
is crossing the Rubicon, Barkha. This is extreme end. I mean, you cannot say that you're the leader of opposition. You are an important part of that same Indian state. You cannot obliterate your own role. And this is what my feeling is, that does not understand what does our constitution embody, what are those fundamental institutions that you cannot attack. You can go out and say that all the instruments of power are wrong. They have been captured by the RSS BJP. You can go on and on in your political, pot shots that you want to take. But calling out fundamental institutions of Indian state or Indian state per se is treacherous, is treason.
Tehseen, you normally defend the Gandhis while being blunt about the mistakes that the Congress party makes. Do you believe Rahul Gandhi's choice of words, as Rajat Sethi argues, either he chose poorly and he should come out and say so? I chose poorly. I should have used a different set of words. I was talking about the government, not the state. I think the excellent point that Rajat makes is that Rahul Gandhi actually has a position as leader of the opposition that is part of the same state that he says that his party is up against. Are you disappointed with Mr. Gandhi's choice of words?
So, Barkha, thank you so much for having me on the show. There are two aspects to this. There was a context in which Mr. Gandhi said what he said, and the context was Mr. Mohan Bhagwat's speech just the day before, when Mohan Bhagwat said that, listen, India truly got freedom on the day the Ram Mandir was Pran Pratishtha happened at the Ram Mandir of Lord Sri Ram. Now, I completely agree to the point that that is subjective. I don't think that is treason. But I do think that's an insult to our freedom fighters. I do think that's an insult to our constitution. Because on the very same constitution that Prime Minister Modi took oath and has been governing the country, that came into being only after 1947 and our struggle for independence. So that is an insult to the several martyrs who laid down their life. Be it Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, Rajguru, etc. And we know that the RSS not just never participated in the freedom struggle, they colluded with the British in sort of putting down the Quit India movement, etc. So that part of history is there. Coming to what Mr. Gandhi said, I do believe that Mr. Gandhi, as leader of opposition, I get that point, must choose his words slightly more carefully. It should be that we are at war with a government machinery that is following the orders of the government and thereby using instruments of the state to attack the opposition, because that's what the ED is doing, that's what the CBI is doing. That in many cases, with respect to the judiciary, who we all respect, is also not granting liberty to the opposition. So those are valid points to make on institutions. So I do think his intention was right. I mean, after all, who knows more about sacrificing for the state than Rahul Gandhi? He's lost his father and his grandmother. His grandmother was shot to death. His father's body was blown up to bits. It had to be stitched. Nobody knows more about losing and martyrdom for this country. And this
did he choose the wrong words? Did he choose the wrong word?
I think Mr. Gandhi's intention was right. I think he could have added one more word, institution. I think he should have added a word institution.
He said institution, but he should have probably said government instead of state.
Government
is not the state. We are all Indians. We are all aligned with the Indian state.
Yeah, and I think he could have avoided the word war. We are not at war, even if it's the government. We are not at war with the BJP. I do believe that, or the RSS. I fundamentally disagree with the BJP, RSS, with Rajat's position on the issue. But we're not at war. We must have political differences. In fact, we must encourage political differences, but then come together later on. So I don't think we should be at war with each other. But then on the other side, institutions are being used to put people in jail. That cannot be taken off. Laws are being made that take away your fundamental right, in the case in point being the ED laws. So there are issues of freedom and constitutionality. Just one last statement. You see, in 2018, there was this major debate on TV, and I was participating, and I was very upset with the left loonies wanting to assassinate our prime minister. And they had this entire scheme by IPS, obviously IPS officers, DNI. Today, all of those cases either have been withdrawn or have got bail, and they've not given an evidence. When officers of such high rank collude with the government to put people in jail, I don't like the left. I think they are loonies. But you can't take 5-6 years of people's lives and make a plan of assassinating people in office. So I think that is something we need to discuss in the context which Mr. Gandhi was saying.
Okay, so he meant to, his intention was something else. His framing, even Tehseen, without using the word poor, is acknowledging was poor. I want to bring in Neerja Chaudhary, and then I'll play out exactly what Mr. Bhagwat said and what Rahul Gandhi said about Mr. Bhagwat. Fighting the Indian state. We're not just fighting the BJP and the RSS, we're fighting the Indian state. I mean, my personal sort of thought, Neerja, at this point is, why is Rahul Gandhi getting drawn into these ideological battles with the Congress, with the BJP in election season, when by contrast, look at the much cleverer, some might argue, Arvind Kejriwal sidestepping these contests and these arguments altogether. The BJP is feasting on Mr. Gandhi's use of the word Indian state. Naturally, it's politics. Maybe he stumbled, maybe he meant it. We don't know. He's unlikely to apologize, as Rajat suggests. What do you think?
Barkha, 2 quick points. One, this is another example of Rahulese. Rahulese. Just as there is legalese, there is diplomatese, there is politicalese. This is the language of Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah.
Number two, I suspect, I'm trying to figure out both what Mohan Bhagwat meant when he said that and what Rahul Gandhi was trying to say. I suspect if you go out into the marketplace or go out anywhere in the rural area, semi-rural area, talk to 1,000 people, what do they make of these statements? I wonder if they've really understood what they mean by it. Rahul Gandhi is right when he says they are fighting not just a political organization. That is absolutely correct. And it's not even fighting a government using its agencies against the opponents. They're fighting not only a huge election political machinery, they are fighting the other side, of course, is an ideological battle. And also what they have already expressed as a 1,000-year civilizational project. So Rahul Gandhi is right there. And as others have pointed out, you have pointed out, the Indian state is not equal to the Indian government. That is obvious. And ILOP is also part of that Indian state. That distinction has been made, and probably that's a word he should not have used. Now come to Mr. Bhagwat. You will play out exactly what he said.
Can you hold that thought then? And let me play out Mr. Bhagwat's clip, and then you can comment. In fact, let me play out both what Mr. Bhagwat said and what Rahul Gandhi then said about that speech. First, Mohan Bhagwat talking about true independence coinciding with the Pran Pratishtha of the Ram Mandir. Take a look.
प्रतिष्ठा द्वादशी, पौष शुक्ल द्वादशी का नया नामकरण हुआ। पहले हम कहते थे वैकुंठ एकादशी, वैकुंठ द्वादशी, अब उसको प्रतिष्ठा द्वादशी कहना है, क्योंकि अनेक शतकों से परचक्र झेलने वाले भारत के सच्चे स्वतंत्रता की प्रतिष्ठा उस दिन हो गई। स्वतंत्रता थी, प्रतिष्ठित नहीं थी, क्योंकि भारत स्वतंत्र हुआ 15 अगस्त को, तो राजनीतिक स्वतंत्रता हमको मिल गई। हमारा भाग्य निर्धारण करना हमारे हाथ में आ गया।
Mohan Bhagwat has the audacity to inform the nation every 2 or 3 days what he thinks about the independent movement, what he thinks about the constitution. In fact, what he has said yesterday is treason, because it is stating that the constitution is invalid. It is stating that everything, the fight against the British was invalid, and he has the audacity to say this publicly. In any other country, he would be arrested and tried.
He is saying political independence came to us, the constitution came to us, but he is saying कि वो जो एक प्रतिष्ठा थी, वो तब आगे उभर के आई जब, I'm summarizing him, when the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha took place, and then he calls it Sachi Swatantrata, true independence. Rahul Gandhi says he should be arrested and tried for treason for these comments.
Look, he can have his view. Political independence is the way the independence is normally understood. But now many people, leftists believe it, others believe in it, that we've not got to economic independence. Till everybody has that place under the sun in India, and dignity and equity and their basic needs met, economic independence, full independence hasn't come. Now the RSS BJP side believe that the cultural independence hasn't come and should be, and they are now today equating it with the consecration of the Ram Mandir. Not everybody will agree with that, but that is their viewpoint. As far as political independence is concerned, that came only on 15th of August 1947. Rahul is absolutely right there. Freedom struggle and all that it connoted. Now, treason, should he be tried for treason? Now it's going to become a treason versus treason debate, as we see from the reaction.
I mean, imagine for a moment that this was Arundhati Roy saying that India is still not free, we are awaiting our economic independence still. And the BJP got up and said she's an anti-national, as some of the BJP supporters have in the past. She should be tried for treason. The left would get up and say, this is absolutely intolerant. Why can't you have a point of view? She is making a rhetorical point. It's her own. She's not said anything against India, etc. Now, my point is a political question, Nirja. Is Rahul Gandhi wasting political capital getting drawn into these battles? What is he gaining?
I think what he has probably tried to do is to bring the constitution back at the center of the national discourse before Delhi elections. Now it has gone into the backdrop again in the 24 general elections. It was center stage, and it got them rich political dividends because many communities, some saw too much ho raha hai, or constitution may get changed. The Dalits saw it as an end to the reservations that had been given to them, and so on. And the BJP was down to 240 seats. Now, the constitution has gone to the back burner in the Haryana and Maharashtra elections. So is he trying to bring that center stage? But is that what will have traction? As I said, it will be very interesting exercise to go out there amongst ordinary people and see how they are reacting to it. Does this language have traction with them?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And Rajat, one of our viewers says, Barkha, I agree with Rajat. We should cut some slack and give Raga the benefit of doubt. He's talking about the earlier comment about fighting the state. But it is also important for Raga to clarify, if not apologize. This is what Prasad says. We all know he meant our government. But when it comes to Mohan Bhagwat, he very clearly meant Mohan Bhagwat should be tried for treason. You say Rahul Gandhi is the one with the treacherous words. Tehseen says Mohan Bhagwat has undermined India's independence movement, our freedom fighters, by saying Sachi Azadi, Ram Mandir ki Pran Pratishtha ki din aayi. What would you say?
I think you played Mohan Bhagwatji's statement. What he said was clearly that the political independence was secured. He acknowledged it. I don't understand where the brouhaha is coming from. He said it as clearly as he could. He believes, I personally believe that Rahul Gandhi doesn't even understand what a Pran Pratishtha means. How does Pratisthit Hona mean? Pratisthit has nothing to do with Pratishtha or respect. Pratisthit is to establish. What Mohan Bhagwatji was trying to attempt is that the cultural freedom, though some might feel, some might not feel, has been achieved. It was established on the day when you could freely talk about our culture, talk about our social values, cultural values, civilizational values, all of that. That is what he was. And it was a nice sort of an expansive sort of a discussion that you can have, that you always have. These are like deep philosophical that you can go on and on. Where did treason come in? When Rahul Gandhi used the word treason, it reminded him of the emergency days. Tomorrow, if he comes to then becomes a prime minister of this country, God forbid, he would have the same trait as his grandmother had. He would have the same tendencies to again push our country into the black days of emergency. If he's talking about treason so loosely, you should use words like treason, sedition under extraordinary circumstances only, and do not throwing it
I
around
agree with you.
irresponsibly the way Rahul Gandhi has done. And we need to call it out.
Yeah, Tehseen, I agree with you that the word anti-national is used too loosely in our public discourse, and frankly, it's often used by all sides, not just one. In this case, it's been Rahul Gandhi who's used the word. But Nija raises an interesting point. Is this an issue? Does anybody care? Should all the noise, the media space, the public headlines be taken up by the ideological battles between Rahul Gandhi and the RSS? There is an alternative way, and I will play out Sharmishta Mukherjee's most recent interview to me about her father and his going to the RSS. We have those shots that jog people's memories. Pranav Da went to the RSS headquarters and he made his own point. He held on to his own beliefs, but he engaged, as it were, with the Sangh Parivar, with the RSS chief, and you can see that in those pictures there. There is another way, and I know that you in your public discourse engage with all points of view. When Rahul Gandhi positions the RSS and the BJP as the enemy, as not a routine political opponent, what are we doing to politics?
In
Can
that,
we unmute Tehseen? Yeah, there you are. Start again, Tehseen.
Thank you. Barkha, the problem in that issue is when you make it us versus them is the Congress advisors who advise Rahul ji think that they will get a certain section of votes that are very anti-RSS or maybe even liberal Hindus, etc. The problem in that is when it becomes anti-national versus anti-national, as Nija rightly pointed out, this is not the issue of the common man. What happens as a result of which is the government escapes responsibility. Now, let me leave Aam Aadmi Party Delhi elections because there's no Aam Aadmi Party representative here. There are 1,000 issues to take this government down. That is the present Modi government down. Tax terrorism, GST, extortion. The middle class is suffering. Savings is at an all-time low. Gold is being mortgaged. Pollution, cancer, pandemic. If you actually, for Delhi elections, get into this, the BJP will not have a face to show. Do you know, and often on TV I say, ask the Aam Aadmi Party, tell me 25 hospitals you built in Delhi. In the last 10 years, BJP built no hospital in Delhi as well, the union government. You can actually have the BJP on the match. So these are issues that will resonate. What happens is the discourse at times becomes so macro that it is out of context for a lot of the common folks. And I'm not running down common folks. I'm saying those are not bread and butter and daily issues. That's point number one. Point number two, I do still believe that whatever the RSS position is, we must engage with them. We must talk to everyone. There are political opponents, but are the political opponents also willing to talk? Where institutions are being used and laws are being changed to put somebody in jail for months on end. Political opponents, when they are being hounded, what does the political opponent do? In the earlier days, there was some sort, and when you covered 2G, CWG, etc., the media asked questions of both sides. And I'm not saying the media only asked questions of the government. They even asked the opposition on where they were reasoning. Today, where is those questions? I'm just on the media being asked of the government in most of the cases. So there is the opposition that has its back to the walls. There are bureaucrats who are willing to today toe and do the line, cross that line that they wouldn't have crossed when the government forces them. There are questions of how a lot of our government business is being conducted. So I think those are fair questions for the opposition to ask, and those are questions they must be asked. But I still believe it should not have been the word state. It should have been the political party and the government.
Nija, you raised the point about whether this is an issue at all, right? And my hunch is that it's not an issue, but there is a political consequence, and that political consequence is what Tehseen is talking about, which is that by this taking up all of the energy, all of the media space, all of the headlines, all of the banner headlines, all of the videos on social media that are being shared, issues that might actually resonate with people, they're not being raised by the opposition. And I think you once used this phrase that the Congress's big challenge is to not become a drawing room party, to not become a party that is having esoteric philosophical conversations, whereas the real issues are something else. Do you believe Rahul Gandhi is walking into a trap kind of his own making?
Well, Barkha, we're in the middle of Delhi elections. Delhi,
Yeah.
which is 32 million people. Delhi, which is the second largest city in the world after Tokyo. But Delhi today is a capital that foreign diplomats would like to avoid. Forget foreign diplomats. It's a place. I came back from Maharashtra yesterday after 10 days. The moment I land in Delhi, I feel ill. So I would like to put to every single party, the BJP, Aam Aadmi Party, and the Congress Party, what is your action plan to give us clean air in the capital of India in 2025? Don't give me it's responsibility of the center, it's the responsibility of Aam Aadmi Party. I am not interested in this. If it is the responsibility, center state has to work together, different states have to work together as stakeholders. Get it done. I expect you, as the people I elect to rule Delhi, to ensure this. What is going to be your action
But
plan?
this is not
You've
even
talked
in the
about
headlines.
education, health.
This is,
No,
Neerja, I agree
this
with
is
you.
not even
I
this.
agree with you.
Yes.
I agree.
I mean,
But it's not even in the headlines.
the right, the fundamental right to clean air, for my child's life not to be curtailed, for me not to be sick, is my fundamental right. What could be more basic than that? You are not talking about it at all. And every year you look at the smog in the sky, what we are having to live in. People have described it as slow poisoning of the citizens. I mean, what is wrong with us? What is wrong with our citizens? What is wrong with our political leaders?
No, the point is, having spent 12 days in bed with acute asthma, I hear you. But my point is exactly this, and there I agree with Tehseen. The opposition has lost every opportunity to actually make this election or this season about issues that people care about. The headlines are dominated by these ideological issues. Tehseen, very quickly, and then I want to play out Sharmishta's clip. Go ahead.
Yeah, you see,
Tehseen?
yeah, just two things again, and I'll repeat it. When the government will benefit from it being Hindu, Muslim, from it being caste, from it being everything else. Sheila Dikshit ji, and I was watching her interview, said that every 15 days she would meet the LG, whoever the LG was, whether the BJP appointed or the Congress appointed. And you have images of Sheila ji with Prime Minister Modi out here, right? You're showing right now. And Delhi is today missing Sheila ji because both Arvind Kejriwal ji and the BJP have left Delhi down. The Congress actually has a golden opportunity to come back in Delhi, actually has an opportunity. But if you lose it, and you lose it on choice of poor words, I think that is terrible. I think, and I've said this, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, Sachin Pilot ji, they must be now, should also along with Rahul ji speak more. Rahul ji should give the ideological cover, and they should both along with Rahul ji put a more assertive Congress face ahead, because clearly words in politics matter and perception matters. Politics is all about perception. You may say whatever your intention is, it's all about perception. The BJP is going to town with this.
Absolutely. Is there another way to handle perceptions? Is there another way to handle those you don't agree with? Another storm has erupted after a memorial was announced for Pranab Mukherjee, but a kind of trust was announced to look at the issue of Dr. Manmohan Singh's memorial. Sharmishta Mukherjee, Pranab Mukherjee's daughter, says that she's being attacked. She's raised it with Rahul Gandhi. She's being attacked by Congress trolls, and she has defended her father's decision again to engage with the RSS. I thought in the context of what's playing out between Rahul Gandhi and the RSS, this is a very important clip for us to take a look at. Let's play it out.
I think my father, I also wrote that he might have made the Congress High Command upset, but definitely he did not betray Congress ideology. Rather, I also remember, I think every TV channel, live broadcast his speech. I think at that kind of circumstances, to give so much publicity to Congress ideology, and it's very easy to preach to a friendly audience.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to, bat in an unfriendly, bad pitch. So my father had the courage to do that. So today people, when he say that just because, he went to RSS, that's why he's a Sanghi. So I would like to say that, when Rahul Gandhi hugged Narendra Modi in parliament, whom his mother called Maut ka Saudagar, by that convoluted logic, then Rahul Gandhi should be seen as an accomplice of Narendra Modi.
Okay, so this is a very interesting clip, and Rajat, I'll start with you. Sharmishta did, however, subsequently share this clip and put a tweet on X saying that she did not agree, though, with Mohan Bhagwat's statements. She has gone so far as to say the RSS is more tolerant than the Congress, but she did not agree with Mr. Bhagwat's comments on true independence coinciding with the Ram Mandir. Now, this idea that somebody can agree with parts, disagree with parts of what somebody says, but engage. I think this should be at the heart of our sort of, a democracy built on the dialectics of dialogue. Last thoughts, how do you see this controversy playing out? Is it a non-issue? Is it an issue? How do you see it?
This is the special wiring of liberal mind. They will espouse liberal values but stand against every single thing in practicality. This is the same snobbish remark that Hillary Clinton made, calling all the left conservative ecosystem as deplorables. What Rahul Gandhi is saying, that anybody who doesn't agree with his line of thought are literally deplorables. This is where the problem is, that these are your fellow Indians. You need to win them over. You need to co-opt them instead of confront them all the time. But that nuances require you to actually work hard with the people, understand now RSS is no longer to be an ignored institution. This has around 10 crore, almost 10 to 15% of the people either directly or indirectly involved with various institutions of the RSS. How can you ignore this single biggest non-governmental organization around the whole world? You cannot call them deplorables. And incidentally, I can recount there have been members of parliament of Congress party who have been Swayam Sevaks with the RSS. I have encountered them in the Northeast, and I can tell you they used to privately over dinner tell me that I don't understand why does the Gandhi family as such have this epic hatred for the RSS. They just don't understand. They haven't encountered anybody who can give them sort of differing perspectives, and they haven't really conditioned or even attempted to learn about the institution, and that is where they're making a fatal flaw. And again, good luck to them.
Yeah.
If they want to call deplorables and still win over their hearts and minds, so good luck to them.
Before I give Tehseen the last word, Nirja, I remember when we were discussing your book on Indian prime ministers, one of the points you actually made was that the RSS and Indira Gandhi had a channel open. And there was a certain dialogue that went on between them. And I think that's the point. And Sharmishta argues very passionately that her father held on to his own beliefs, but went and engaged with the RSS. And she says the way the RSS reacted, given that Pranab Mukherjee had once advocated for the ban of the RSS at an AICC meeting, that they still called him shows, quote unquote, that the RSS is more tolerant, in her experience, than the Congress party. My mind went back to what your book said about Indira Gandhi and the relationship with the RSS.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Indira Gandhi and her victories were attributed to a silence, a tacit support. She herself in private conversations had said that of the RSS. It gave her a pro-Hindu image. She realized the sentiment of the Hindu, and she was a very consummate politician. It's not that she subscribed to the ideology of the RSS or they to her ideology when they were reaching out to her. So I think at various times this has happened. And our democracy is Rajat was saying this, it's about persuasion, it's about dialogue, it's about disagreement. And, if we get these hard lines that you are like this and I'm not even going to talk to you, I think that is what is happening today, the bitterness and a complete breakdown of the dialogue between the two sides. And that is a really worrying thing that even Pranab Mukherjee used to talk about when he talked about the stalling of parliament and the non-functioning of parliament.
Yeah, absolutely. Tehseen, closing word. I think you've come as far as you could to criticizing Mr. Gandhi by saying he should have chosen his words carefully. He should also choose his issues carefully. It is the height of election season. Has he done the Congress has he scored a self goal today?
No, because it in the larger issue, it won't matter so much to the common man. But yeah, the BJP escapes one day of being put on the mat, because remember, they are the incumbent government. But there is something more that I would like to say. Of course, I agree with what Nirja and Rajat said, that we must always have our phone lines and we must always talk to people. But also we must understand that in a democracy, there will always be different viewpoints. Not everybody who votes for Prime Minister Modi or the BJP is a Sanghi or a right-wing bigot or a right or a rowdy right, as I call the loony left. People vote different political parties for different reasons. How else do you explain, for example, the Congress party winning a state in the winning a state election, but losing, not winning a single seat in the Lok Sabha?
Sabha.
The same people vote, right? So they're not Sangis. People vote
Yeah.
for reasons. So I do agree
I
with
think
what.
I think Neerja wants to interject before you close. Neerja, you
Please,
want to say
please,
something?
Neerja.
Very quick
Yeah.
point. I'm going to just take it forward. What Tasim is saying, where the Congress is coming from, is worry about the position of the minorities, to give them their due, the Muslims and the minorities in India. And in that ecosystem that the RSS and BJP occupy, they suspect that they are treated as second-class citizen. And how do our minorities feel that they will be first-class citizens in the India that we want to fashion? That the Sangh has to take on board. The BJP also has to take on board. So I agree. I'm sort of pushing the line Tasim was putting out in adding to the need for dialogue.
May I just add to that?
Tehseen, I think Rajat also wants to react. So Tehseen, go ahead, and then Rajat. Yeah.
Yeah, I said this in your
Yeah.
podcast, but I said this in your podcast, and I come from the minority community, right? So I understand that, and I'm appreciative of that. But there is something more that the Congress and the opposition needs to understand. The minorities in any case are not, in most cases, going to vote for the BJP, though I think the minority should also engage with the BJP. So in such a case, when the opposition reacts in the extreme way that it reacts, for example, in the Maharashtra election, meeting Maulanas who endorse the Taliban and want women to be covered up from head to toe, that still polarizes the nation. So I think on all fronts, including the fronts of the minority, why should the minorities not engage with the BJP as well? Let us talk to each other. We are a democracy, and I think only through that can we have solutions, and the solution must be 20, 30 years ahead for India. What is our roadmap? Right now, we are all firefighting about yesterday. Nobody's thinking about 30 years ahead. Nobody's talking about that.
Yeah. Rajat, very quickly. Rajat?
Yeah, so very quickly, I just wanted to say that, the only small iota of political value that perhaps Rahul Gandhi was trying to draw, from his speech was that he wanted to ensure that whatever little bit of minority votes that he can get or secure for the Congress party in the Delhi elections, he should do. Clearly, Aam Aadmi Party and Congress are on a mutually assured destruction path. Because he's just trying to, position himself that way. He can carve out as many minority votes and increase and give some momentum to the Congress party and at least ensure that Aam Aadmi Party is put to place. That's the only political message that I foresee from this entire irresponsible use of political words that he did in today's very belittling speech of Rahul Gandhi.
Okay, we leave it there. I think the one thing I would like to say as the bottom line is that wherever you stand ideologically, if Rahul Gandhi believes this is a battle needs both tactics and strategy. Did Mr. Gandhi display either? That's the question we leave you with. Even when you take on an opponent you disagree with, there are times that you duck the bullet. There are times that you fire straight. A good general knows when you duck in the trenches and when you take on the battle, and how you position both your tactics and strategy. And as a student of politics, I believe that Mr. Gandhi scored an self-goal today. But yes, let's watch this space. Thank you very much, Neerja Chaudhary, Tehseen Poonawalla, and Rajat Sethi. And to our audience, thank you, and see you soon.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo's Story and support independent, robust journalism.